Today I had a big fight with my wife because of you. I don't even know how things got this far. One moment, everything was fine, quiet, normal, and the next, her voice was trembling, filled with anger and hurt I couldn't explain away. She kept asking me questions I didn't have answers to, questions I didn't want to answer. I tried to stay calm, to reason with her, but my silence said more than my words ever could. And in that silence, she saw the truth that there's someone else constantly on my mind, you. I don't know what kind of spell you've cast, but it's like you've built a place inside my thoughts where no one else can enter. Every time I close my eyes, I find myself there, standing in a world that exists only between us, unreal yet more peaceful than anything I've ever known. And it's killing me because I know what I'm risking. I know I shouldn't feel this way, but my heart doesn't understand boundaries or vows or logic. She looked at me today, not as my wife, but as a stranger who realized she's losing someone she thought she knew. And for the first time, I felt the weight of what I've done, or maybe what I'm becoming. I walked away, but the echo of her tears followed me, and still, even through all of that pain, I couldn't stop thinking of you. You've become the reason behind every argument, every restless night, every unspoken word. I wish I could explain it or undo it, but the truth is, it's already too late. You're a part of me now, in ways I can't escape, and I don't even know if I want to. I left the house that evening with my heart pounding, the sound of the door slamming still echoing behind me. The air outside felt colder than usual, almost as if the world itself knew I had crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. I kept walking, not knowing where I was going, only knowing I couldn't stay there any longer. Every step I took felt heavy, filled with regret and confusion. But even as guilt clawed at me, there was another truth I couldn't deny. Somewhere deep inside, a part of me felt drawn to you, as if every path I took eventually led back to your name. It's strange how someone can become the center of your world without even meaning to. You didn't ask for it, you didn't demand it, but somehow your presence has seeped into every corner of my mind. I see your face in places it doesn't belong. I hear your laughter in moments of silence. It's like a quiet obsession I never saw coming, one that grew slowly, unnoticed, until it was too powerful to ignore. Maybe it was the way you understood things without me saying a word, or the way your eyes held both peace and chaos at the same time. Whatever it is, you've become my undoing. The more I try to stay away, the stronger the pull becomes. Nights have turned into endless battles between logic and longing. I lie awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if you're thinking about me too, or if this madness is mine alone. My conscience screams that I should let go, that I should fix what's breaking at home, but my heart, it refuses. It keeps whispering your name like a prayer, like something sacred and forbidden. And maybe that's what makes it so intoxicating, the danger of it all. I've started to notice how my world has changed around me. The things that once brought me joy now feel dull, empty, colorless. My wife's laughter, which used to be my favorite sound, now feels distant, like an echo from another life. Even when she stands in front of me, I find myself searching for something that isn't there anymore. It's cruel, I know. She doesn't deserve this version of me, distracted, detached, divided. And yet, I can't seem to find my way back to the man I was before you. Sometimes I wonder what fate really is. Is it a choice we make, or a current we're helplessly pulled into? Because if it's the latter, then I've already surrendered. I've stopped fighting the way your presence makes me feel. The calm and the chaos, the beauty and the destruction. You've become both my sanctuary and my storm. And though I know this path only leads to pain, I can't help but walk it. Maybe love, in its truest form, has always been a little tragic. There are moments when I imagine what life would be like if things were different. If I had met you first, if timing hadn't been so cruel. I see flashes of us walking together, laughing freely, living without the weight of guilt or secrecy. But those dreams always end the same way, with reality crashing in, reminding me that some stories are meant to stay unspoken, some loves are meant to be hidden in shadows. Maybe ours is one of them, beautiful but impossible. And yet, even knowing all this, I can't let go. You've become the heartbeat behind my silence, the reason behind my every hesitation. I carry you with me in my thoughts, in my regrets, in the quiet moments when the world feels still. You are both my sin and my salvation. And though I may never say it aloud, every part of me knows the truth. I lost peace the day I found you. The night stretched endlessly as I wandered through empty streets, trying to quiet the storm inside me. Every passing car light felt like a reminder of how far I drifted from who I was supposed to be. I kept thinking about her, my wife, how she must be sitting alone, staring at the silence I left behind. And yet, even as guilt pressed against my chest, it wasn't her face that haunted me. It was yours, your smile, your voice, the way you looked at me like you could see right through every wall I had ever built. I hated myself for it, for wanting you when I should have been strong enough not to. But love, real or forbidden, doesn't listen to logic. It simply demands to exist. I sat by the river for hours, watching the water move without hesitation, flowing endlessly as if it carried every untold story of hearts like mine. I wondered if the river knew what it meant to love something you couldn't have. The moonlight danced on the surface, soft and mocking, and I thought about how your eyes shimmered the same way when you were lost in thought. That memory alone was enough to break me. I felt the weight of everything I was losing, my peace, my marriage, my sense of right and wrong. But in that same breath, I felt alive in a way I hadn't in years. It was terrifying and beautiful all at once. I told myself I'd forget you. I promised I'd put distance between us, focus on what mattered, and rebuild what I'd broken. But promises made in the dark often dissolve with the first light of morning, because the moment I saw your name on my phone, every resolution crumbled. My heart betrayed me faster than my mind could reason. It's strange how a single message from you could undo hours, days, even weeks of trying to forget. You had become my weakness, my quiet addiction, the part of my life that made no sense but felt like the only truth I wanted to live in. Days turned into a blur of pretending, smiles that didn't reach my eyes, conversations that felt rehearsed. I was there, but not really there. My wife noticed, of course. She tried to reach me in her own way, asking gentle questions, holding my hand a little longer, hoping I'd come back to her. But how could I when my soul was somewhere else? I could feel her heartbreak growing heavier each day, and still I did nothing. Maybe that makes me a coward. Maybe I am one, because I kept choosing the ache of missing you over the comfort of what I already had. You once told me that love doesn't always mean being together. Sometimes it's about feeling deeply, even when it hurts. I didn't understand what you meant back then, but I do now. Because I feel you in everything, even in absence. You exist in the pauses between my words, in the silence after every fight, in the songs that suddenly mean too much. You're everywhere and nowhere at the same time, and I don't know how to live with that anymore. Sometimes I imagine you reading these thoughts, maybe in another life, maybe when the world is kinder. I wonder if you'd feel the same pull, the same ache, the same impossible tenderness. Would you understand the chaos you left behind in me? Would you forgive me for loving you in the wrong way, at the wrong time? I don't expect answers. I just need to believe that somewhere, in some version of the universe, we didn't have to choose between love and duty. And now, as I sit here with the night fading into dawn, I realize that love doesn't always end with closure. Sometimes it ends quietly, like a candle burning out when no one's watching. Maybe that's what we are. A flame that wasn't meant to last, but burned brightly enough to leave its mark forever. I know I'll go back home, face the life I've broken, try to fix what can still be mended. But no matter how much time passes, a part of me will always belong to the memory of you, the part that loved without reason and lost without regret. Morning crept in slowly, soft and unforgiving. I watched the sunlight spill across the room, touching the empty spaces that once felt like home. Everything looked the same, yet nothing felt familiar anymore. The bed was half empty, the coffee grew cold before I could even taste it, and silence filled every corner like a ghost that refused to leave. I kept thinking about how love can turn from comfort to chaos so quietly, without warning. One day you're safe, the next you're standing on the edge of everything you thought you knew. I used to believe love was about staying. Now I know sometimes it's about losing yourself in someone you were never supposed to find. I spent most of the day pretending to be fine, smiling at people, answering questions, nodding at conversations I didn't really hear. But inside, I was somewhere else entirely. Every sound, every moment was just noise compared to the quiet hum of your memory that never stops playing in my head. I thought distance would make it fade. That time would help me forget. But time has only made your absence sharper, more real. I don't even know what to call this anymore. Guilt, love, madness, or punishment. Maybe it's all of them woven together in a pattern I can't escape. Later that evening, I found myself scrolling through old messages. It's ridiculous how a few lines of text can feel like entire chapters of a life that never fully existed. I read your words again and again. The way you spoke, the softness, the hesitation, the care hidden between sentences. It wasn't grand or poetic, but it was real. And maybe that's why it hurts so much. Because you weren't just someone I loved, you were someone I understood. You made silence feel safe. You made chaos make sense. And now, without you, everything feels unbearably loud. I sometimes wonder if you think about me too. Not the man who loved you, but the man who couldn't choose you. Do you hate me for that? Or do you understand that love doesn't always come with courage? I wanted to fight for us, I really did. But every time I imagined a world where we could exist openly, I also saw the faces of the people I'd hurt. It's cruel how life makes us choose between love and loyalty, between the heart's truth and the world's expectations. And I'm not sure I chose right. I'm not sure I ever will. Nights are the hardest. That's when memories turn into ghosts that refuse to rest. I still remember the way your voice would soften when you said my name, how your laughter could erase the worst parts of my day. Sometimes I catch myself whispering your name just to feel something again. It's foolish, I know, but love often is. It doesn't care about logic or rules or the damage it leaves behind. It just burns quietly until there's nothing left but ashes and what ifs. I tried writing about you, not in letters or confessions, but in fragments, pieces of thoughts, half-formed lines, words I could never say out loud. Maybe that's the only way I can keep you close without us widowing what's left of me. You exist now in my unfinished sentences, in the pauses between my breaths, in the spaces where words fail. Every story I write begins with your shadow and ends with your silence. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's all the universe will ever allow us, to exist between the lines, unseen but unforgettable. As the night deepens again, I realize that loving you has changed me in ways I can't undo. I've become quieter, slower, more aware of the fragility of everything. I see love differently now, not as something perfect or permanent, but as something that leaves a mark even when it fades. You are my mark, my lesson, my almost. And though I'll go on living the life I chose, a part of me will always linger in that small, hidden corner of memory where your name still feels like home. The days have started to blend together now. Time has lost its edges, softening into something that feels endless yet empty. I wake up, go through the motions, speak when spoken to, but it all feels rehearsed, like I'm playing a part I no longer recognize. Sometimes I catch my reflection and don't even see myself. I see a man who's pretending not to ache, a man who walks through life with invisible bruises, trying to convince the world he's fine. Maybe that's what heartbreak truly is, not the loud, dramatic shattering, but the quiet decay that happens afterward. Everywhere I go, there's something that pulls me back to you. A song in a cafe, the scent of rain on the pavement, the laughter of strangers that sounds a little too familiar. I try to ignore it, to push it away, but the world seems intent on reminding me of what I lost. Sometimes I think the universe does this on purpose, to make sure I never truly forget, because maybe forgetting would be too easy. Maybe pain is the price I have to pay for having felt something that real even for a little while. I saw her smile today, my wife. For a fleeting second, I thought maybe I could find my way back to that version of love, the one that was simple and certain. But as I looked into her eyes, I realized she could see the distance in mine. There's a sadness there now, a quiet understanding that things aren't what they used to be. She doesn't ask questions anymore. She just lives beside me, like two ghosts haunting the same house. I wish I could fix it, but how do you mend something when your heart is split between what is and what was? At night, when the world grows still, I sometimes whisper your name into the darkness, not out of longing, but out of habit. It feels like a prayer, one that doesn't ask for anything, just remembers. I don't think I'll ever stop doing that. You became part of my rhythm, part of my breath. Even if you're gone, even if life moves on, there's a space you left behind that nothing else can fill. People talk about closure like it's something you can find if you search long enough. But I've learned that some stories aren't meant to close. They just fade quietly, like the end of a song that never truly ends. Sometimes I wonder where you are now. Do you still look at the sky the way you used to? Do you still believe in the kind of love that doesn't need a reason? I hope you're at peace. I hope you found someone who looks at you the way I always wanted to, without hesitation, without fear. It hurts to imagine it, but it also feels right. Maybe love, at its purest, is wanting someone's happiness, even when it doesn't include you. That thought alone is enough to bring both pain and comfort in the same breath. I've started to write again, small pieces, fragments of thought that don't belong anywhere but on paper. Every story I create somehow circles back to you, even when I try not to let it. It's as if you've become the language I think in, the metaphor for everything I can't say outright. You've turned into a kind of truth, painful, beautiful, untouchable. Sometimes I wonder if that's what our love was meant to be all along, not a life shared, but a story remembered, something that would last longer in words than it ever could in the world. And as I sit here tonight, with the moon hanging heavy outside my window, I finally understand that Not every love story ends in togetherness. Some end in understanding, some in silence, and some, like ours, continue quietly beneath the surface, alive in memories, untouched by time. I will live, I will love again, I will laugh, but somewhere deep within me, you will always exist, not as a wound, but as a whisper of something once infinite, once real, once mine.